Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where the truth always matters. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative, and co-host Brendan, from the Brendan Statler Show. We are your source for conservative news. Now on with the show.
Welcome everyone to the Conservative Viewpoint, where we dive deep into the heart of politics, dissecting the issues that shape our nation. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative.
And I'm Brendan Statler from the Brendan Statler Show.
Tonight we embark on a journey through the corridors of power, guided by principles that stand the test of time. In a world of shifting alliances and rapid change, conservatism remains an anchor of steadfast belief in limited government, individual liberty, and the enduring wisdom of our Constitution. As we navigate these rough seas of policy debates, let us remember that our shared values are the compass that guide us. So grab your metaphorical pocket square, adjust your intellectual spectacles, and join me as we explore headlines, analyze the nuances, and seek truth in a cacophony of voices. Because here on the Conservative Viewpoint, we just don't report the news, we illuminate its significance. Stay tuned, my fellow conservatives, because the journey begins now. Hi, everyone. How you doing today? Hope you guys had a good day today. Today on this episode, we're going to go over and cover multiple topics. So sit back, relax. Let me hear your opinions in chat as we go over everything tonight. So with that being said, on with the show. So tonight we're going to go over, the first thing we're going to go over is, you guys listen to us talk about, where did my thing go? We talk about how Biden said that he was not going to pardon Hunter Biden. Wasn't going to use his authority to do that, right? Well, he didn't say anything about commuting his sentence. You guys didn't hear about this yet. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, the liar-in-chief that she is, declined to rule out whether President Biden would commute his son's Hunter Biden sentence following his conviction on federal felony charges. Now, go figure that a politician would lie and not lie. Right, Brendan?
Absolutely. That's what I said before we went live when you were telling me about this. It's a politician answer. Of course, we all know that they're going to play some type of game with this. Either it's going to be my theory that he's ultimately going to be acquitted and it's going to be after the election, or Joe Biden will commute his sentence. But I think more likely it's going to be after the election he's going to be acquitted. And the reason is this. Is because, like I said before, the whole motivation behind convicting Hunter Biden on all three counts of these charges was to drive the false narrative that the justice system is not weaponized against President Trump, that it is fair and balanced and justice is blind. And we all know that that is not the case. So they need this narrative going into the election. So I don't think that it's going to be very likely that he commutes the sentence. Of course, I don't want to completely rule that out because these people are so unpredictable. But if I were to try to make a prediction on it, I would say that Hunter Biden's just going to go through the appeals process, and the process is going to get drawn out well after the election because we're less than 5 months away from the election. I don't see that process wrapping up in that amount of time. So it's going to get strung out past the election. Emphasis on the strung out when talking about Hunter Biden. And did nobody catch that? Wow. Here to chuckle out of you, Charlie. Jeez.
Oh, shit.
But anyway, it's going to go beyond the election. Then ultimately he's going to be acquitted of all charges. They need this narrative going into the election. At least they think they do. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but it's important to them that they have this narrative going into the election.
Yep. They better hope he gets to court before January 21st, Trump will be inaugurated?
January 20th, 2025 at high noon.
There you go. Now, the other breaking story we got is, if you guys didn't hear, and you probably did, that Merrick Garland got held in contempt of Congress. So that means it goes to the DOJ to arrest him or what have you. Now he runs the DOJ. So what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, this is where. Oh, I didn't hear you talking, but I saw your mouth moving. Were you talking?
Yeah, no, I was looking at something when I was
Okay.
talking. Go ahead. I'll finish what I'm doing.
I didn't know if you accidentally turned your mic off.
No.
But this is where the House Republicans really have to act. They have shown virtually no backbone this entire time they've been in power, but this is the fight that they have to be in. This is where they have to show up and show that they have a backbone and some stones. Hopefully they do it. We cannot let this just go. We can't. They weaponized the justice system against President Trump. They're threatening to throw him in prison. That is the presidential nominee of your party. That is who the majority of your constituents, the vast majority of your constituents, support to be president of the United States. They cannot continue to go on Fox News and say what an injustice this is that President Trump is going through and continue to have no action. We can all see that it's an injustice. We can see it. We know that it's an injustice and that it's a weaponized Department of Justice. They need to do something about it this time. They have done nothing since they have been in power. They cannot punt the football on this. There is no other option than to do everything in their power to make sure Merrick Garland is put in prison the same way Peter Navarro has been put in prison, in the same way that Steve Bannon is going to be put in prison. He needs to be put in prison for this. Because if you're going to throw Navarro and Bannon in prison, Merrick Garland did the same exact thing that they did, but the difference between the two of them, they had executive privilege. Bannon and Navarro had executive privilege. All they wanted the January 6th Kangaroo Court Committee to do was to work out the executive privilege, and they said they would gladly come testify. They never made any effort to do so. The Kangaroo Court never made any effort to do so, to work out the executive privilege. They just went and had them arrested.
Okay.
Republicans cannot punt the football on this. They need to throw him in jail.
Well, we've got Anna, Paulina, Luna is going to try to do that. Now I'm going to let you guys hear for herself what she's planning on doing. So I want you to watch this little video real quick.
And the reason why we're here today is because the Attorney General thought he was above the law and did not comply, not just with one subpoena, but with two subpoenas. Those are subpoenas from both Chairman Jordan and Chairman Comer. I want to read this to you because ultimately, if in 10 days the Department of Justice does not do their job and hold the Attorney General responsible, just like they would any other American, I think that it should be our job in the House of Representatives to bring an inherent contempt proceeding against the Attorney General, of which I've already filed that privilege motion over a week ago. This is something that we reserve as an authority in order to bring back order to a House that has seemed to have forgotten it. And so with that, Chairman, I just wanted to let you all know, as my colleagues, because I'm sure we will debate this on the floor, I fully intend in 10 days after this passes out of committee to hold Attorney General Garland in inherent contempt of Congress if the Department of Justice does not do their job.
I think you're muted, Charlie.
Now that's what I'm talking about. You're right. I was muted. And that's the one that's going to, and she said this on the full clip, that this was back from the 1900s and they've never used this before. So,
yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. This is what they need to do. They actually need to do something, because the DOJ is not going to do anything to him.
No,
so
not at all.
This is what has to be done.
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary. If Republicans punt the football on this and they do not throw Merrick Garland in jail, I think this decision could determine the outcome of the election as far as the House and Senate are concerned. Because many people are going to go out and vote for President Trump. You know, that's not a concern of mine. I feel pretty good about President Trump being back in the White House. My concern at the moment is, are we going to lose the House? Are we going to be able to take the Senate? If Republicans punt the football on this and they do not put Merrick Garland in jail, I think it could really cost us the House, and Democrats will retain the Senate easily. This is an important issue. They need to act on this, and they need to act on this now if we have any chance at keeping the House and taking the Senate. This is essential.
Oh, you're absolutely right. If we do not do something, Trump will have no power if we do not gain at least one of the two. And
right.
I don't know what we're going to be able to do if they don't do anything. So the best that we can hope for.
I was just going to read that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I got to look at something else
Dennis said the best that we could hope for is that Trump signs a bunch of executive orders to get things done. If he gets back into office, the Republicans are unreliable at best. President Trump has actually already promised to sign a bunch of executive orders on day one to reverse a bunch of Joe Biden's policies that he's put in that's completely crippled our country. So that is coming day one as soon as Donald Trump takes his hand off the Bible. That's going to be the first thing that he does. He's going to sign a bunch of executive orders. The first one I would imagine is closing the border. That would be the obvious one. I would imagine the second one would be the mass deportations. And then there's going to be a bunch of other ones, of course. You know, you could really, your guess is as good as mine is what third would be what it would be after closing the border and deporting all the illegal thugs, because there's so much that Joe Biden has screwed up since he was installed into the White House. But the executive orders are coming. That is going to happen day one of the second Trump term.
That's what he says. I hope it does.
Yep, that's what he's saying. Apparently, that's his plan, day one, and you know, I have no reason to doubt it. So I believe we will see it.
Tammy said the same thing. Then the demons will come screaming about what a dictator he is.
That's you know what I cannot wait for, Charlie. I cannot wait for when Trump wins the election. And all of a sudden, the Democrats start screaming election fraud. It will be okay to question elections again. Because you know that's coming. You know they're going to say the Russians put him in office.
Oh, absolutely. Russia and China.
Well, mainly Russia, because Russia's their
they're incoherent. They're in cohesion now. So you know they're working together. So and Tammy,
drill baby drill. Tammy says, "Yep."
So we're going to get started off with this Dick Morse to Newsmax. Trump's so popular, he doesn't even need a VP. Now, for you guys who don't know who Dick Morse is, he's an American political author, commentator, who previously worked as a political campaign consultant, general political consultant, and an advisor to Bill Clinton during his time as governor in Arkansas. So this is something whenever you get something like him to say, you know, when he was a Clinton guy, it says
he worked in Trump's administration, I believe, too.
They didn't show that in his bio.
Some type of advisor to Trump as well. He was some type of advisor to both Clinton and Trump, I believe.
Really? All right, yeah, it didn't show it in his bio today. So, but his endurance is he does not need a vice president. He doesn't need to pick a black man or a woman or somebody from the East Coast or the center of the country. He said he could pick anybody, and his popularity is so enduring, his base is so strong, they'll accept his recommendation no matter who it is.
Oh, for sure.
So, and that's actually true. So now we're going to turn things to the Trump Florida document case, where the judge has already declined to dismiss Trump's case because he said it wasn't enough evidence to overturn it at this point. So the judge rejected attempts. I think it was 2 attempts now, and more than a half a dozen charges on the Trump case on Monday, but he's related to his alleged mishandling of the classified documents. Now I want to let you watch his first video, about the judge just not dismissing the first case. Take a look at this.
A federal judge denied yet another motion by former President Donald Trump to dismiss his classified documents case.
Yesterday, U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon rejected Trump and his co-defendants' efforts to discuss the obstruction and false statement counts of the indictment. But she did agree to strike a paragraph from that details an incident where the former president allegedly showed a classified map to a person without clearance. Cannon wrote the paragraph's sole purpose was to highlight a prior bad act of the former president and should not be included in the indictment. Prosecutors can still point to the map incident as evidence during the trial, though. A campaign spokesperson and an attorney for Mr. Trump did not immediately respond to requests for comment.
Now, before I read the rest of this off, those guys are making some good points in there. And Dennis says Trump doesn't need to be concerned about being reelected. Go for the gold and sign away Donald. Exactly right.
That is the thing that I have mentioned before too. Is this is the thing that is so unique about this. We've only seen this one other time, I believe. I know Grover Cleveland was the only president to serve 2 terms non-consecutive, but I can't remember if anybody has ever held the office of president, left the presidency, and ran another time at all other than Grover Cleveland. I'm not aware of that ever happening. But even if it has happened before, that it's very rare. This is very unique where you have a candidate running that's not the incumbent that can only serve 1 more term. I mean, this is rare. So you're right. Trump could just go in, and this is why Trump's second term is going to be so more explosive, I think, than the first one was. The first one was a grand success. But the second one is going to be even more successful because Trump knows who all the bad actors are. He knows who all these people are now. He didn't know his first term. And I've said this over and over again. My biggest criticism of Trump from his first term, and I wouldn't even call it a criticism because I probably shouldn't call it a criticism because he didn't know, it was learning. But Trump trusted too many people his first term. And I think even he would acknowledge that. He's going to go in this next term. He's going to put the right people in where they need to be, and they're just going to start doing what they have to do. They have a lot of work to do to get the economy back on track, and really the whole world back on track. You look at all the chaos throughout the world; they got their work cut out for them, but they'll make it happen. And not only that, not only do we need to clean up the economy and the wars around the world, we need to hold the treasonous here in the United States accountable as well. And that's probably going to be the biggest task of all. That needs to happen this second term.
Right. Well, Tammy mentioned that Russia and China don't want Trump in there.
No, they don't.
She's exactly right, because they're afraid of Trump and they know what he's capable of. So you definitely right, Tammy, on that one. And Dennis said to you, Obama has been reelected, Brendan.
True. Yes, true.
Trump doesn't need a job to judge character.
I wouldn't say reelected because that gives the impression that people actually elected him in 2020. We all know that the people elected Trump in 2020, but that's not the way it turned out. So I agree with what you're saying, but I wouldn't use the term reelected.
Yeah. Hey, Pat. Welcome. Now, to finish off that with the judge in Florida, she did agree to strike 1 paragraph from the indictment, which lawyers claimed were prejudicial and unnecessary to the underlying charges. Now, the paragraph claimed that Trump showed a classified map from a foreign country, to someone without clearance, while discussing a military operation. Now, I wanted to show you this. Now, this was from yesterday and the day before, so that I didn't get to show you. Now I'm going to show you this, and it's on a video loop. If you can see this, this was a memo, a secret memo, showing that they had Trump's original documents prior to them raiding his Mar-a-Lago estate. I want you guys to look at this. I think I've made it for like I don't know, 25 or 30 seconds. I can't remember. Just so you could try to read real fast. And because I was going to talk when I did it, but then we didn't even get into it, but that's okay. I want you to take a look at this real quick, if you can see it well.
A federal...
That one, this one. Now, if you can see this, it's showing this is the document that shows that they had his original documents prior to going into the raid. So they actually didn't need to go in there. They didn't need to have guns. No one was a threat to them in that Mar-a-Lago's estate. So this is
not.
But so this goes all together with what she's denying and everything because of so many different stuff. That leads us into the next one. And let's get up there. Because all this goes to show how corrupt the FBI and the DOJ are, especially towards Trump. Now, that led up to the Trumps trying to seek total dismissal of these classified charges over alleged evidence tampering. Now, Trump's attorneys have filed a powerful motion asking Cannon to fully and completely dismiss the boxes hoax due to the illegal action by the crooked Joe Biden Department of Justice in a shocking failure to preserve the boxes taken from the President Trump's home in an unconstitutional and un-American raid on Mar-a-Lago. Now, deranged Jack Smith was forced to admit in public that he and his thugs committed a blatant evidence tampering by mishandling the very documents that they used to pretext to bring this fake case against him. All the other crooked Joe Biden directed witch hunts against President Trump. Now, they should all be dropped immediately. Now, this was filed earlier yesterday. Haven't heard anything about it today because she's supposed to make a ruling on this because of the evidence that they tampered with it. Jack Smith and his whole team. You know, in that case, we've seen this from the Democrats that have fraudulently brought up all these charges against Trump and all these hearings and all the evidence that he falsified. And this is what needs to stop. And I hope she goes for it this time. I mean, she's already declined to dismiss twice on different things, but now this one is tampering with evidence. I don't know what we're going to see out of this.
Yeah, and if they're tampering with evidence, you almost wonder, was every document that they, quote unquote, found in that box or in these boxes, were they already there or were they planted? Like, did they happen to bring nuclear codes and plant them on Trump? Trying to make it look like he was trying to sell nuclear secrets to foreign leaders. I mean, that's always the narrative throughout the media that that's what he was trying to do. You almost wonder if that's what they did, if they tried to plant something on him, or if they did and we just haven't heard about it yet. The entire case should be thrown out. As soon as there is tampering with evidence, you cannot trust anything else in that case. The case is tainted at that point.
Yes.
It has to be thrown out. It shouldn't even be talked about anymore. It's been proven that the FBI tampered with evidence. The case is over. You cannot trust anything else. Yeah, that too. You cannot trust anything anymore when it comes to that case.
They didn't go in with cameras at all. They didn't videotape the evidence. All they did was document it on paper. We know that's bullshit because of the transcripts with Joe Biden. You can write anything you want.
Yes. Yep.
And it doesn't mean you put everything down. So now but Jack Smith actually admitted to it.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that everything you put down was correct either. You could
exactly.
You could be lying completely about that and you would have no idea.
Yeah, whoever documented this stuff could have already had a list on them saying, all right, put this down as that was there. Put this down that was there.
Right.
So who the hell's to prove that was right? Because they should have videotaped the whole damn thing. But no, they instead of taking their body cameras, they took guns to a place where they didn't need guns, and that the Secret Service had 2 hours to prepare for this, because that's what they gave them. They gave them 2 hours and said, we're coming in to raid you. Yeah. So when the FBI arrived, they sat back and documented on notebooks what was going on, because they were like, they were like dumbfounded because of what was happening.
Yeah, and I don't know the law on this, so forgive my ignorance, but I would think if it's not already a law that it should be, that the FBI should be required at all times to have body cam footage recording. I mean, if you're going to require it for police officers, just everyday police officers, why not for the FBI? And if it is already required for the FBI, why is every FBI agent that was at Mar-a-Lago, why are they not being held accountable for not having body cam footage? I mean, it's just, they didn't have body cam footage because there was some shady shit going on there. I'm telling you, I don't, even if they found nuclear secrets in there, I do not trust the fact, I don't trust it at all.
No.
I don't trust if they would say that Trump had nuclear secrets, because you already tampered with evidence. How do we know you didn't plant that there? How can you expect us to trust anything you people say about this now? Exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous.
We're going down the list here. Dennis said to you, if you didn't see it, pardon my bippy, Brendan.
I did see that.
Obama has been reselected. Exactly right, Dennis. Exactly.
Better.
Now we got John in there is talking about what is up with the fake ass Biden trial, and everybody's going in through here and answering them, and I like all the answers too. But then you got John asking, why don't they go after him for the pedophile pictures on his laptop? Everybody's been talking about that today too, John.
It's all deflection.
It is. It is exactly right, Brendan. It's all a deflection and try to draw us away from everything else that's going on. But everybody's talking about it. Everybody's pushing that issue about going after him for that. They can't do anything about the drugs, even if you see it on camera. They can't do anything about the pedophilia. Oh, yes, most definitely they can do. Let's line all the Bidens up for pedophilia.
Yeah, and remember, they let the statute of limitations
run on that.
Yeah, they let that run. Sorry, my tongue got tied there. They let the statute of limitations run on his tax crimes that he committed.
Big stuff.
On the big stuff, and they don't want to look into the influence peddling scheme that would involve not only Jim Biden but Joe Biden, of course, too. They basically went for the one crime that could not be connected to Joe Biden.
Well, that's what they did. They went for the still going to come out though. Crime. But that's still going to come out when this goes, when that tax goes in California goes, and I think they said September today is when that goes off. The IRS tax,
I believe,
trial goes in September, so that can still come out when it goes, but because it's a smaller amount, but it can still roll Joe Biden and Jim Biden into it if it play it right.
Possibly, but you got to remember this is happening in California too.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
So I
don't think they got any conservative judges in California.
No, I would not think so. So I wouldn't get too excited about that. I don't think that's like Trump getting the fair trial in Washington D.C. It's not, or New York at this point. We know New York now.
Right.
It's not going to happen. They're not going to prosecute a Biden in California.
Right. Well, and you already answered Tammy on this one because she said it was a distraction also.
Yes.
And Pat says that they are going to bury that. Oh, they're going to try to bury everything on this, Pat. You are exactly right on that. Because that's what they do best. They bury everything that happens with this Biden administration and anything that goes on with a Democrat, period. It don't even have to be Joe Biden, the pedophile himself. It could be any Democrat that does something wrong. They're going to bury it all.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the day that they indict Trump for returning a videotape to Blockbuster Video without rewinding it first. I mean, that's a possibility. They'll probably give him 20 years for that, if not the death penalty, the way our justice system works currently.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're burying all the big crimes that the Biden family's involved in. This was the least offensive crime that Hunter Biden had committed, and this is what they got him on.
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, these charges are not going to stick. I'm pretty confident in that prediction. Just wait till
Oh
after the
yeah.
election.
Well,
It's going to go away.
yeah. Tammy mentioned about
Yeah.
Big Lucy. You see that now denying, didn't accept responsibility for January 6th. She was on. I can't remember if it was MS. I think it was MSNBC today, and of course she was turning
Yeah, she
around to blame
backpedaled.
Trump. Did you see that?
I did. She's
She was blaming us as Trump supporters and Trump on everything that was going on there. She, oh my God, that drunken bitch. She needs to suck a little bit more vodka down because she's just sat up there and lied and lied. And of course, MSNBC, I think it was MSNBC or CNN, is one of
it
those
was
two.
MSNBC.
Was it?
MSNBC.
It's that
Yeah.
woman that she was talking to. And they let her lie.
Was that Nicole Wallace's show? I can't remember.
I
Was it
don't remember.
Nicole
I don't
Wallace?
watch her. So she got longer, like light brown hair or something. I can't remember.
White
Like
girl.
reddish maybe? Yeah, a white girl.
It might be Nicole Wallace.
I can't.
Remember.
I don't watch it, so I don't know who they are. But yes, Tammy, you're right. That bitch. Oh my God, I can't even stand looking at her drunken old ass. What else we got going on? You've been reading down through there.
Neither can her husband. Why do you think he hires male prostitutes and
gets them arrested?
Beat up with a hammer because he won't pay him, and they're staying in their underwear when the cops show up.
Oh, he's getting hammered one way or the other.
you remember how they tried saying that guy was a far right MAGA supporter? It's like this guy was a friggin' pot smoking nudist. I mean, I know we have a large portion of the MAGA movement is pot smoking nudists, but I don't think this guy.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, of course. By the way.
Yeah, he was not a MAGA supporter. I'm sorry.
No.
But Pat said that they still haven't figured out who dropped the coke in the Capitol. Well, yeah, they put it in one of those storage bins, one of those bins where you put your cell phone and stuff. They didn't take the fingerprints off of it. They didn't do anything. No camera caught it. It's just a miracle.
This is my thing with the whole cocaine in the White House case. You really mean to tell me in a place like the White House, they cannot figure out who had that box for that day? You can't look at the number and be like, so somebody by the name John Smith had this box that day. I mean, really? It was
left like they were wearing rubber gloves. They weren't wearing rubber gloves when they stuck that coke in there.
No, and that's the other thing too. That's why I said there are many ways that you could find out who had this cocaine. They know who had the cocaine. They know it was either Hunter Biden or it was somebody dropping it off for Hunter Biden. It was one of the two. You could look at who either had the box or you could look for fingerprints. I mean, there ain't no way that somebody's putting on gloves. I mean, seriously, can you imagine being in the White House? You're sneaking cocaine in. But just think about this. Even if you did put on gloves and all this shit, that aside, why would you even put it in a Dropbox? You got past security. Why would you leave the cocaine? Why wouldn't you just keep it on you?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, there is no sense in that White House right now. So, but the Secret Service that was investigating this got to be pro Biden because they'd have gave him up. But somebody else is controlling the Secret Service, and according to Bongino, that director, she's a yes man or a yes woman. So she's going to do what Biden tells her to do, or whoever his monkeys are that are pulling his strings. They're talking about hammering.
I see it.
Paul's getting hammered with alcohol, with a hammer, and another hammer. Oh my God, it's so good. They know who it was. Once again, protecting the Biden crown, protecting a family. Oh, most definitely, they know who it was, and
they know exactly who it was.
Well, Dan Bongino tells you exactly what the investigation does as a Secret Service agent, and said they got the fingerprints, they got the video cameras, they got everything. They know who it was. They're just not giving it out.
I mean, think about this. They could pick anybody out of the crowd in January 6th and track these people down and have them arrested. But we can't figure out who put cocaine in this box in the White House. I
No
mean, come
kidding.
on. Come on.
Yeah.
Does anybody really buy that? I mean, it's the same thing with the ballot drop boxes. You know, we can't figure out who these people are. There's stuff in the ballot boxes. We
Oh,
can't figure
yeah.
out who left cocaine in the White House. But we could track down all these people from January 6th that went in and said a prayer inside the Capitol and throw them
Yeah,
throw
2
them in
years
prison
later.
for probably the rest of throw them in prison for the rest of their lives probably. I mean, it's just does anybody really buy that? Come on.
If they buy it, it's definitely nobody here. It's those idiot sheep.
Dennis said we would be a blast at a party.
Oh man, you should have seen all the liberals that have popped up into my Facebook or my Twitter page. Holy moly!
I just got done with it before I came on. People were special kind of stupid.
I haven't had this many liberals at one time. I don't know, because I was following a lot of people today, and then all of a sudden, all these freaking liberals pop out of the woodwork talking about Trump being a felon, and I'm sitting there going, well, so is Hunter, and soon to be, and I got a new picture I put up that soon to be Joe will be too. And then they're showing, why? What did he do? Well, I rattled off the whole damn list, or at least half of his list. I was lying. They said, oh, you're talking about Trump. No, hell no. He didn't do an Afghanistan withdrawal debacle. He didn't open the border up. And all the other shit that I listed, and they said, I had to block them. I bet you I got 10 or 12 right in a row.
I don't block them. I let them block me. I have fun with it.
Oh, I was calling them. They were going to report me because I was calling them names. So
I had a lovely conversation with our good friend John Zeglin before we came on here. He's
John.
Yeah,
oh
John
yeah.
Zeglin.
Dennis said.
That's funny. But yeah.
What did he have to say?
Well, Zeglin was telling me that I forget how this even started. This is over the period of 2 days. Let me think about this. He said something about wouldn't vote for Trump because he wants to preserve American democracy. And I said, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. And this guy tried telling me that they were basically the same thing. They're interchangeable. I'm like, no, they are not the same thing. I said, if we were a democracy, it would be us petitioning the government, not us sending representatives, and we wouldn't have the electoral college. We wouldn't have any of that stuff. We have a representative form of government that is different from a democracy. They are two entirely different things. So, and then he started getting in how the electoral college is bullshit. I said, I know you want the electoral college gone because you want New York City and Los Angeles, California determining the presidential election every election.
That's exactly what they want.
You don't want people in Ohio and in West Virginia and even here in Pennsylvania, really. You don't want people in Kansas and Oklahoma and everywhere else like that. You don't want them having a say. That is why you want the tyrannical majority that the framers of the Constitution feared that they fought against with the British monarchy. They feared that same possibility, and that is why they made us a republic and not a democracy. If you don't know the difference between a republic and a democracy, and particularly if you don't know which one we are, I don't think you have any business voting. That's just my opinion. But he and then of course me saying that it was a republic and not a democracy, I even had to cite the Pledge of Allegiance for him where it says unto the republic, not the democracy. Apparently I was spewing propaganda, and I said that's all you people do when you're beat. You classify everything you don't agree with as propaganda. I said I bet next you're going to call me a racist and compare me to the Klan. Or perhaps you're going to call me a Russian agent and compare me to Nazis. I said, that's all you people can do when you're beat.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as I know, he hasn't said anything since then. So hope you guys all enjoyed that story real quick.
Well, the Democrats, with elections, the Democrats have already started this. Black people can't get IDs again. Right now.
I know.
They are trying to piss off the black people to go
Well, they're
against
doing a great job of it.
Yeah, but they're trying to blame it on the Republicans, though.
Oh, of course they are.
That they can't get an ID because we don't want all the drop boxes and the mail-in ballots and all that stuff, because they're saying because black people can't get IDs. Oh my God. And it's like, you guys got to listen to this and listen to what the Democrats say. They are tearing down the black people, and they expect black people to vote for them. I don't think there shouldn't be that many black people that are that stupid that would listen to these people.
And there's not, and I want to reply to Dennis here real quick.
Go
He
ahead.
says a democracy is another term for mob rule. That is exactly what they feared. That is exactly what the framers of the Constitution feared. They feared the tyranny of the majority or mob rule. Because think about this: if we were a democracy, Hillary Clinton would have been elected president in 2016 if we were a democracy, because Hillary Clinton did win the popular vote. She did.
Yep.
But that's not how we elect presidents. We elected through the Electoral College, so the vast majority of the country is not disenfranchised, because you want people in the flyover states, if you want to classify them as the flyover states, you want them to have a say in who governs this nation. Because if we got rid of the Electoral College Act, it would be New York City and Los Angeles, California picking the president every election. That is what it would be. It would be pointless for us to vote. The framers recognize this, and that's why they made us a republic and not a democracy. But back to the Democrats insulting black voters.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, black voters are not falling for this. That is why you're seeing more and more black voters, along with Hispanic voters, go towards President Trump, because.
And that's what he was talking about. They were talking about too. Blacks, China, right. Anybody with a color other than white skin.
That's another interesting topic when talking about Chinese Americans. There are a lot of Chinese Americans coming to support President Trump because they see, think about it. These people fled the Chinese Communist Party. They know what communism looks like. And if you listen to any Chinese American, when they're being interviewed about why they are supporting Donald Trump, every single time they will say, because the Democrat Party is the party of communism and fascism, and we fled communism, and this is the exact path we went down in China and how we slipped into communism, and that is why we are voting for President Trump. You look at any Chinese American that is supporting Trump when they're being interviewed, they give some variation of that answer. That is the most interesting statistic when it comes to Trump and non-white voters. The black vote, very, very interesting. But I think as well with Hispanic, because of course you have Cubans who fled Castro's rule to come here and see what. So that's another aspect of that too. The Cubans and the Chinese Americans.
You just brought something up in my head real quick, but I want to mention. Tammy said desperation at its finest. You are right, Tammy. They are so desperate because they're losing their ass coming this election's coming up that they'll do anything. But when you mentioned that about Cuba, did you guys know? I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but our military was sent down to Florida because a Russian ship was sailing off the shore of Florida, heading to Cuba. So they had to take a detour and they come close to Florida shore. So they sent the military down there. They did show a video of the people on the beach and helicopters and jets and shit flying over Florida because of this. I forgot that's exactly what I would come down early for. And yes, so Russ is up to some shit. They said they're going over there to do drills down in Cuba. Now that's a problem because Cuba is not that far off of our water. So they are strategically placing ships all around us, up in Alaska and around California, down Hawaii, everywhere. They're placing ships. We got to get an administration that'll do something, because Biden administration's so weak. They don't give a shit. They don't see the chess pieces setting up. And I don't even play chess. I don't even know how to play chess. But they're setting them up all over the place. And then you got Chinese people coming into our country, over 30,000 of them. And now you got Russian ships and everything going on. There's some shit going to go down. And I hope you guys are ready. I don't give a shit about the liberals. They want to keep trying to take our guns. But
Yep.
But me with my guns, they're going to be the first ones hiding behind me when something breaks up. I'll be damned. I'm going to be using them as a bulletproof vest. No.
I would too. I'd use them as human shields, honestly, if it came down to it. But anyway, what's the point I was going to make here? Now, the reason the Russians are doing this is because, assuming what we're hearing in the media is true, because they're always quick to demonize Russia. So I don't want to put too much into this yet until we know more. I'm going to be like Dan Bongino and apply his Bongino rule. But what I will say about this, assuming that it is true, what is being reported, the reason the Russians would be doing this is because our continuous aid to Ukraine.
Right.
And honestly, can you really blame them for doing this? I mean, if we were at war with a country, we would want to go after a powerful nation that is supplying them constantly. I mean, I'm definitely not pro-Russian, but I mean, if the roles were reversed, we would want to go after whoever was funding our enemy too. I mean, that is true. But this was my concern when we started getting more involved in this war, was that eventually we were going to piss off the Russians. You do not want to piss off the Russians, especially when you have a weak leader like Joe Biden. That was the thing with President Trump. Russia was afraid of us, or they at least respected us, but I think there was some fear in there too. And it's not a bad thing for us to get along with Russia. We don't have to agree that Putin's a good guy and all this stuff. You know, I don't think Putin's a good guy. I think a lot of what the media says about him is untrue, but I don't think he's a good guy. I don't. But what I will say is that is a guy that you want to get along with. And even possibly, if you could do it, even though he's our biggest enemy, you want to get along with Xi Jinping to an extent too. You want him to fear you, but you want to get along. You want to get along with as many people as possible. If you were exactly a president, with as many people as possible, but you have to have that, excuse the term, you have to have that fuck around and find out mentality. You do have to have that. You have to have these people fear you a little bit. They do not fear Joe Biden. That's why you see Russia possibly doing what they're doing now. That's why you see China looking to invade Taiwan, because we have weak leadership. We are not feared. We are the only nation that could have stopped all this from happening, and we didn't because we currently have a weak leader. If we had a strong leader like President Trump, none of this stuff would be happening. And that is why we need to back out of this Ukraine-Russia conflict, get out of all these conflicts that we have no business being involved in.
All right. Dennis said that the military might have been an air show. No, it wasn't an air show. I have people down there that said there was no air show. It was definitely, they were heading that way. And they definitely got the conservative news down there to verify it all. And then they showed the Russian ships and everything, and it verified that they were running close to Florida, but not close enough to really hurt anything, but too close for comfort. That's for sure. Now, Lindsay admitted that today that the Ukraine war is about natural resources. That's what it originally started with, because Russia was not able to get the natural gas that was running underneath it there. That's why that Nord Stream pipeline 2, I think, was put in place. Because of that reason, because they wanted the gas, they couldn't run it through Ukraine, so Russia was pissed off about that. So, yes, you're definitely right about that.
Yeah, that's what I said from the start of this war. We need to stay out of it, and of course we didn't, because this was my biggest concern. We were going to piss the Russians off. The Russians and the Chinese were going to team up, and now they both see a weak point because of Joe Biden being installed into the White House. Joe Biden being the quote-unquote leader of the free world. This has a possibility of getting very bad if this trend continues. All I can say is, thank God we're less than 5 months away from an election, because this has to stop. This has the potential of getting really, really bad.
Yeah, Tammy said that Joe Biden, all he does is shake his finger and says don't. And every time he says don't, Tammy, what do they do? They do. And that's what happens.
Because they don't believe him. They don't believe him. They know that he will do nothing. They didn't do this when Trump was in office.
He's weak. he's weak, but he has control of that damn button, and he shouldn't because of his mental problems. And that's why Merrick Garland's trying to hide all that audio tapes and stuff, because we could find out that, and they'll even,
Yes.
I mean, you've never seen so much aggression from our enemies until this administration. And you're right.
Yeah.
It's because of his weakness. So
that's exactly what it is. They
that
would
is
never
why
even
we got to get
dream,
this November.
they would never even dream of doing half the shit they have done since Biden was installed into the White House if Trump was still in office. They wouldn't even think about doing half of the stuff that they have done, because they knew that there would be hell to pay if they did something, if they stepped out of line. I guarantee you, every decision they made, they said to themselves, how will Donald Trump handle this? What will Donald Trump do if I do this? They are not having that conversation with themselves and inserting Joe Biden's name. They're not saying, what will Joe Biden do if I go through with this and do this? They're not doing that because they know Joe Biden's not going to do a damn thing. He's weak.
Exactly right. Now, did you guys hear that Trump wants to challenge Biden to a drug test before the debate? Now, I'm just going to let you hear from Trump's mouth.
Yes.
So, since we're going, you got to listen to this. This is funny.
And the word is that I'm 2 points up. I don't know if that's good or bad. How are you 2 points up to Biden? He can't talk. He can't walk. Can't find his way off a stage. Can't put two sentences together. Although he has agreed to debate, so I don't know. Maybe they know something. He's going to be so jacked up for those debates. You watch. I just want to debate this guy, but and I'm going to demand a drug test too. By the way, I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite. I said, "Is that Joe up there? A beautiful robe?" And by the end of the evening, he's like, "Well, he was exhausted, right?" Now, we're going to demand a drug test, but fake Tapper and these people, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fair. I think they're going to be fair. And if they're not, you have to deal with it, right? You have to deal with it. He's all about disinformation. Pilots come in. He said, I used to fly a plane. Truckers come in. I used to drive a truck. People come in from Minnesota. I used to live in Minnesota. Right? He is so full this guy. Terrible.
Okay, it didn't shut off by itself. All right. Now you see what I'm talking about? Now, you know as well as I do that they had him all jacked up on Red Bull and shit like that when he came out for that. Oh, yeah. They had him
you know what, Charlie? Maybe the cocaine was not left for Hunter Biden. Maybe it was left for Joe Biden.
To wake him up.
Maybe he had an important speech that day. Maybe it was really meant for Joe. I would absolutely demand a drug test. They're never going to agree to it. But
his puppet masters won't let him do it.
No, they wouldn't do it. And really, there's no good reason for not doing it when you think about it. I mean, I don't think there is anyway. But they won't do it. They'll jack him up on whatever. But Trump's still going to mop the floor with this guy. I mean, he's going to. And shortly after, Biden's going to be replaced by somebody else at the Democrat National Convention, because he's going to completely bomb this debate that's coming up actually in a couple weeks, is it not? In a couple weeks, I believe.
Yeah, 27th, I think it is.
And we're gonna have that, aren't we? Aren't we going to be streaming that?
Oh, I hope so. I hope we can get it. If it's on, we will be streaming it. But I want to go with Dennis. What was it, Trump or Dirty Harry that said, "Go ahead, make my day, punk"? Yeah,
I love Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah, Dirty Harry movies and that. All right, MAGA, what are you saying, MAGA? I believe they're going to get us in the USA into World War III. We are already in a cyber World War III. It's just going to get worse now because of this. If we don't get that sumbitch the hell out of here as soon as we can. Dennis says Adderall and hyperbaric. Oh yeah, that would actually work, huh? But now, speaking of all this, I want you to take a look at this video where Biden is slurring his words again because they didn't jack him up for this Juneteenth disaster of a speech. So I want you to watch this.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
What the hell did he say? I don't know what the hell he said.
I have no idea, Charlie.
Oh my God. Trump will test positive for Big Macs and fries and proud of it.
And Diet Coke, and a lot of Diet Coke.
Can you guys understand what Biden said in that video? I have not. Here, one more time. Listen to this.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom.
Okay.
Can I mention something here real quick before we go off?
Hey, go ahead. I'll blow my nose.
So we always tell you guys that we have to get involved in this election, right? We tell you that we don't have time for people to stand on the sidelines. We need people to take action. Well, earlier this week, I volunteered for the Trump Force 47 that the RNC is doing. Trump actually started all this through the RNC. It's to help with it's to help make sure the elections are secure, chase ballots, register voters, and so on and so forth. So I think this is something very important. Like I said, Donald Trump was the one that orchestrated this whole thing through the help of the new RNC with Laura Trump involved as co-chair. So I'm going to put a link to this in the chat in Wimpkin, and we could probably put it in the chat for the other sources we're on here. I think it's very important that everybody signs up for this and gets involved in this election, because we cannot handle 4 more years of what we just played in that video. It's only going to get worse, if you can imagine. So
yeah.
I'm going to put this link in here. I hope many of you will click on it and you will volunteer as well, because we need all hands on deck for this election. This, just sitting around and complaining about everything that's going on. I mean, we can complain, but we have to do something in addition to that, because just complaining alone is not going to get the job done. So I'm putting that in the Wimpkin chat now.
Oh, wow.
There it is, so everybody can look at it. I'm gonna
you can't click on that.
No,
you can't click on that. But you can, do that, because that's going to be easier than them trying to just write that shit down. So that's a good idea, Brendan, you had with that, and hopefully everybody can take a look at this, because we definitely do need the people to help out with all this. Now let me get back to where I'm going, because I wanted to get through all these for you guys. But nobody could understand what Biden was saying in that thing. But I'm going to get to his approval records. But his ranking has went down to 37.4%. Now I'm not even reading what I put out for today, because we're getting close to time. But how the hell is people still voting for him at 37% of people, knowing what this country's going through? How the hell is that many people still voting for this idiot? Because there should be no possible way people should be voting for this man, because he has ruined this country to no end, and he just continues to ruin it every day. So I don't get it. I don't understand that a bit. How people could actually sit there and look what he's doing and then question us about why we're voting for Trump, and but they won't answer why they're voting for Biden and what he's done good for this country.
Yeah, because we're not stupid. Real quick, guys, I'm having a hard time pasting this into the Rumble chat for whatever reason. I'm gonna try to get it on there here in a bit so everybody in Rumble could see it. But if you go to my Twitter account, my X account, you can find me there as the Brendan Statler Show. My handle is at Let's Go Brendan _5. I put it in the live chat for this video in Twitter in case you guys are watching on Rumble. I don't know why it's not letting me post it in the chat. So just go to my Twitter real quick. If you're watching on Rumble, and you can find it through there. I'll try to get it in the Rumble chat here at some point here soon after we get off. But I think this is very important for people to get involved in, so I hope everybody will do so.
Now you see there, I put Brendan's stuff up there for you guys, so you can see that, and you can go in there and check that out. And any of his pages, you can go in there and pick those out. You can also use these to follow him on Twitter, on Rumble, on what else do we put on there? Wimpkin, Facebook. You can do them all. Follow us on every one of them. So you got them all there. If you need them, ask again. We'll put them back up. Yep. I'll put mine up here too. And you can do all of mine too. You can follow all mine. And we got to get them out there. We got to get our word out there some more, people. So if you want any of these, I can email them to you. Just have to leave me your email. You can email us at Conservative Viewpoint if you need any of that stuff. conservativeviewpoint@yahoo.com. And if you guys want any of our information and stuff, I'll send it to you. So go ahead and do that. But what else do I have in here? See if we can get through here. Biden's approval ratings is done. Can't remember what this video was for, and I'm too far out for that. So, and I do have.
You got plenty of stuff for tomorrow too, I guess. So.
Nah, I got some new stuff. We got all kind of stuff for tomorrow. There's all kind of stuff like what we're looking at for tomorrow here. Well, that was the same thing. Hillary Clinton insulted the military. We're going to be going over that. Dershowitz on the Hunter Biden deal. Trump, Biden, and Crazy Bill. Alina Habba let Democrats know that Trump is ready for a war. We got so much for you guys tomorrow. And I'm sure, well, you work tomorrow, huh?
No, I'm off tomorrow. I go back Friday, though.
Oh, okay. But he'll be getting some stuff together, I'm pretty sure, because he didn't have a chance to get too much together today. He was a little busy today. So, gotta be a mentally ill crowd. Everybody who votes for Joe Biden is mentally ill, Tammy. That's for sure. So, all right, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. It's been a great show. Want to thank you all for joining us in chat, helping us make our show great. I hope you guys enjoyed the topics we went over tonight. So please join us again tomorrow night, same time, same bat channel, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we'll go over a host of other topics again. And again, like tonight, we'll ask you to check out our Rumble pages. Mine is Country Conservative. Brendan's is Brendan Statler's show. Please follow us. That's the biggest part. Follow us, subscribe, wherever you're at. Please help us do that. We want to get your voices out. So please join us in chat every night that we're on live. So in the meantime, guys, I'll leave you with this. As the sun sets on another day of political discourse, we bid farewell to our listeners with a thought-provoking reflection. Remember, my fellow conservatives, that the tapestry of democracy is woven not only with grand speeches and sweeping legislation, but also with the threads of everyday conversation. In this echo chamber of ideas, we've dissected policies, challenged assumptions, and championed timeless values. As we sign off, let us carry forth the torch of conservatism, its flaming unwavering, its glow illuminating the path ahead. So until tomorrow's dawn, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay true to the principles that define us. This has been Charlie and Brendan on the Conservative Viewpoint, signing off with a resolute nod to liberty, responsibility, and the enduring spirit of America. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.